The magic carpet in the living room. Peppa and George are playing when suddenly the red rug begins to wiggle. Look, the rug is lifting up. A magic carpet right in the living room. The carpet whisks them out the window, soaring through the bright blue sky. After a long journey, the carpet brings them safely home. What a wonderful ride! No one knows the secret of this magic carpet, do they? George's Giant Dream. George just ate a magic candy. Look, he's growing bigger and bigger. Now George is a giant. He's taking Peppa on a grand adventure. The clouds are right under their feet. The whole world looks so tiny. Oh, everything is fading away. It was all just a wonderful dream. Good night, little ones. Sweet dreams of magic adventures.
Little Pig and Sister Pig are preparing a wonderful party with delicious grilled food. Everyone is happy, but something unexpected is about to happen.
Yahoo!
Suddenly, there was a sizzling sound from the oven. Something was definitely wrong. Little Pig and Big Sister Pig ran around the kitchen in a panic. Little Pig grabbed everything to put out the fire while Big Sister searched for a towel. But would this help? But then a miracle happened. Sister Pig found the fire extinguisher and ran out to put out the fire. Peppa and Two Leaves. Peppa walks around the garden. Peppa sees two leaves lying on the grass. One leaf is big and one leaf is small. Peppa picks up the big leaf and looks at it closely. Peppa picks up the small leaf with her other hand. Peppa compares the two leaves. Peppa puts the two leaves on the ground. A gentle breeze blows by. The small leaf starts rolling across the grass. Peppa is surprised and runs after the leaf. George runs over. The leaf stops at his feet. At the same time, Peppa runs up just in time. Peppa picks up both leaves again. Peppa tosses the two leaves into the air. The two leaves spin and float down slowly. Peppa and George raise their hands to catch the leaves. One leaf lands on George's head. Peppa sees it and laughs happily. George laughs too.
Peppa and George take care of the flamingos. Peppa and George are visiting a bright pink flamingo farm. Peppa has an important job, delivering juicy watermelons to the hungry flamingos. It turns out the flamingos here absolutely love watermelon. Whoa! Peppa watches proudly while George is amazed at how quickly the long beaks peck away. After a big meal, there is always another job to do.
Peppa becomes the farm's most hard-working cleaner. Peppa and George learn that caring for animals means feeding them and keeping their home nice and clean.
Peppa and the Little Umbrella House. Peppa walks into the garden and sees an umbrella lying on the grass. Peppa curiously walks closer. Peppa presses the button and the umbrella pops open. Peppa is slightly startled, then smiles happily. George hears the sound, runs over, and looks at the open umbrella.
Whoa!
Peppa slowly lowers the umbrella to the floor. Peppa gently pats the floor to signal George. George crawls under with her. A gentle breeze makes the umbrella tilt slightly. The two siblings try to steady the swaying umbrella. The umbrella becomes steady again. Peppa and George look at each other in relief. They both laugh happily.
Peppa and the hamburger. Peppa sits on a picnic blanket with a basket beside her. Peppa opens the basket and takes out a hamburger. Peppa looks at the sandwich happily. Whoa! George stands nearby and looks at the sandwich. Peppa holds the hamburger, about to eat. Suddenly, Peppa drops the sandwich onto the blanket. Peppa looks at the hamburger in surprise. George bends down and looks at the hamburger. Peppa picks up the hamburger. Peppa gives the hamburger to George. George holds the piece and smiles. Peppa takes another hamburger from the basket for herself. Then they eat the hamburger.
2 hours later.
Peppa stands up after eating. They run around the yard and laugh.
Dance to music! It's a dancing day! Peppa turns on some happy music. It's time to start dancing! Peppa starts dancing! She twirls, she hops high, and she wiggles to the beat. Peppa is a talented dancer!
Yeah!
George wants to spin just like Peppa. He spins, spins, spins. George is spinning so fast, he won't stop spinning. Stop spinning, George! George tries to stop, but he loses his balance. Oh dear, George tumbles onto the floor. Peppa giggles and helps George up. George learned not to spin too fast. Now for some slower, gentle dancing. Rainbow surprise! The rain has stopped. The sky is clear and everything sparkles in the sunshine. Peppa and George rush into the garden, hopping on the wet grass. The air feels fresh and lovely.
Whoa!
Look! A colorful rainbow lights up the sky after the rain.
Yippee!
George shouts with joy, while Peppa runs around as if she could touch the sparkling colors. Peppa and George skipped around an imaginary rainbow. The whole family stood together, watching the rainbow from afar. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and the scenery was colorful. Peppa realizes that after every rain, there's something wonderful to see. A rainbow full of colors. Christmas is here! Christmas is here! Peppa wakes up to see the whole world covered in sparkling white snow. Peppa and George rush to the living room. The Christmas tree is glowing brighter than ever. Peppa twirls with joy, while George admires the shiny ornaments. Christmas feels magical! The family gets everything ready. Stockings are hung neatly, and a golden star is placed on the very top. Peppa gasps as a bright light streaks across the sky. Christmas is full of surprises and magic. Play jump rope! Peppa and the rabbit friend are playing jump rope. They swing the rope and jump up high. They are both very good.
Whoa!
George wants to play too. He stands nearby and tries to jump in. George jumps in, but it's the wrong timing. He trips on the rope. George tries again. He jumps up. Oh dear, the jump rope is completely tangled around George's feet. He's stuck now. Peppa and the rabbit friend laugh. They help George untangle the rope. Now George points to Mr. Dinosaur. Maybe he wants to jump. Little Pig and Big Pig were walking in the park when they suddenly heard a strange sound coming from behind the bushes. They both stopped and looked at each other curiously. Little Pig started to guess. Could it be a giant bear sleeping in there? And Sister Pig thought, or maybe a squirrel looking for food. The rustling from the bushes grew louder. Neither of them could figure out what was it. Could it be a monster? And then, suddenly, Daddy Pig jumped out from the bushes, scaring Little Pig and Sister Pig out of their wits. It turned out that Daddy Pig was playing hide and seek. After a moment of panic, the whole pig family laughed out loud. It turned out that the strange thing behind the bush was a fun game that Father Pig thought up. Peppa Pig in the flower basket. The garden in front of Peppa's house, with gentle sunshine. A small basket is placed on the grass. Peppa bends down to look at the basket and smiles. George stands beside her, curiously looking into the basket. Peppa gently picks a flower nearby. Peppa places the flower into the basket. George points to another flower. Peppa and George pick a few more small flowers. The flower basket slowly fills up. Peppa sits down and admires the flower basket. George giggles. Mommy Pig stands nearby, and all three are happy together. Peppa Pig and the little round ball. In front of Peppa's house, with gentle sunshine, a small round ball slowly rolls into the yard. Peppa stands and looks, tilting her head curiously. George sits behind, watching the ball. Peppa bends down and gently pushes the ball with her hand. The ball rolls toward George. George happily stands up. George kicks the ball a little too hard, and the ball rolls faster. The ball rolls past Peppa, and Peppa runs after it. From a distance, Daddy Pig watches. Peppa stops the ball. Peppa gently kicks the ball toward George. George catches the ball and laughs loudly. Daddy Pig appears, and the whole family laughs happily. Peppa and the leaf on her head. Peppa walks slowly in the garden. A leaf falls down from above. The leaf gently lands on Peppa's head. Peppa doesn't notice and keeps walking. Peppa stops and looks around. The leaf on the head gently wiggles in the breeze. George runs over and looks at Peppa's head. George points and giggles. Peppa reaches up to her head, but can't quite reach it. The leaf falls into Peppa's hand. A gentle breeze blows. The leaf blows away from Peppa's hand. Peppa and George watch it fly away and smile. The leaf swirls gently and falls to the ground. Peppa picks up the leaf and places it on George's head. George stays still for a moment, then smiles. Peppa laughs happily. One fine evening, Little Pig was sleeping soundly in his room. But as he closed his eyes and fell asleep, a strange dream began. The little pig opened his eyes and found himself at the bottom of the sea, surrounded by colorful fish and beautiful coral reefs. Little Pig wanders into an underwater garden where sea flowers are blooming and dancing to cheerful music. The baby pig swims like a little fish and can even surf like a superhero. Everything under the sea is fun and colorful. After a wonderful adventure, Little Pig felt a little tired and decided to return to the real world. The water world gradually disappeared, leaving behind a feeling of relief. Peppa Pig and Tidy Up Day. Peppa and George's room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Teddy bears, balls, and building blocks. Peppa looks around the room, a little surprised. George sits among the toys, happily playing. Mummy Pig walks in smiling. Mummy Pig hands a toy box to Peppa. Peppa picks up a teddy bear and puts it into the box. George picks up a ball, but it rolls away. Daddy Pig comes in from outside. Aha! Daddy Pig picks up the ball and hands it back to George. George smiles happily. High Slide Bridge. Today the family is at the park. Peppa slides down very fast, but George is still standing at the bottom, looking up. This slide looks a bit too high for George. George starts to climb the steps one by one. When he reaches the top, he looks down and feels a little scared. George hugs Mr. Dinosaur tightly and is afraid to slide down. Don't worry, George. Daddy Pig is here to help. He sits behind George and holds him tight so he feels safer. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Whee! They both slide down together. That was amazing! George is very happy and he isn't scared of the high slide anymore. Everyone is laughing happily. What a wonderful day at the park! George smelling flowers. What a beautiful morning! George is walking in the flower-filled garden.
Whoa!
George found a beautiful flower.
Yahoo!
George tried to smell the flowers to see how they smelled. Oh, it smells so good! George loves the smell. George continued to discover many other lovely scents. Oh my! George is smelling too much! George was still very happy to explore the garden full of fragrant flowers. Peppa and the colorful balloons. Peppa walks into the garden and sees a bunch of colorful balloons. Peppa opens her eyes wide and runs closer.
Whoa!
George runs after her, looking curiously at the balloons. Peppa gently touches the balloons. George points at the blue balloon and smiles. Peppa gives one balloon to George. George hugs the balloon and runs around. Peppa throws a balloon into the air. Peppa and George look up, surprised. Daddy Pig comes out and sees the balloons floating high. Daddy Pig holds the balloon strings tightly. Peppa and George jump up happily. Peppa and George play together with a bunch of colorful balloons. The whole family laughs happily. George, Ocean Explorer. Today, the bathtub has become the deep Atlantic Ocean. George is preparing for a grand expedition. George is the brave captain. He brought his best crew member, Mr. Dinosaur. They dive down into the deep sea. They are searching for lost treasure. They swim past the coral reefs. That's the soap bubbles. Look, George found a strange sea creature, Mr. Duck. Mr. Dinosaur meets a friendly giant. A huge whale is spraying water into the air. What a wonderful sight at the bottom of the ocean! It's time to return to dry land. George had such a wonderful ocean adventure. Goodbye, sea! Little Pig and his sister decided to explore a forest that was said to have many strange things. But no one expected that. Today would be a special adventure. As they went deeper into the forest, they came across a giant tree, standing tall in the middle of the road. But not any ordinary tree. Suddenly, a mysterious warning rang out from within the tree. Be careful, darkness is approaching, and things will never be the same again. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The shadows of the trees began to move, but it wasn't the wind. Little Pig and Sister Pig ran faster, but the darkness seemed to be unyielding. And in the end, nothing strange happened. Everything was in the sisters' imagination.
Peppa and George play with a paper airplane. Peppa sits in the living room with a paper. Peppa folds the paper into a paper airplane. Peppa holds the airplane and looks at it happily. George stands nearby and curiously looks at the airplane. Peppa gives George a paper airplane. They stand side by side holding their airplanes. Peppa throws her airplane first. George throws his airplane into the air. The two airplanes glide through the air. One airplane circles and lands on the grass. Peppa and George run after the airplanes. George picks up the airplane and gives it to Peppa. They look at each other and laugh happily.
Hot Air Balloon Festival. It's the Hot Air Balloon Festival today. Peppa and George are at the field. The huge balloons are being inflated.
Wow!
first balloon is ready. It goes up high, higher and higher. Peppa cheers happily. How wonderful! So many balloons are going up. Blue, pink, polka dots. It's like a garden of flowers in the sky. Peppa and George wave goodbye to the adventures in the sky. What a colorful festival! Family photography. It's time to take a perfect family picture. Mummy Pig sets the camera on the timer. Everyone gets into position. Say cheese! Peppa smiles brightly, but George winks just as the camera is about to flash. Take 2. Try to hold still. Everyone is looking at the lens. But Daddy Pig feels a tickle in his nose. Something is wrong. Daddy Pig! Achoo! Daddy Pig sneezes just as the camera snaps. The whole family bursts into laughter. Oh well, they'll have to try again. The log floated away. Peppa and George are playing near the riverbank. There are so many interesting things to see here. Look! Peppa finds a big log. It looks very heavy. Peppa tries to push it by herself, but the log won't move.
Hey!
George decides to help Peppa. They use all of their strength. Push! Push! The log slowly starts to roll. And splash! The log falls into the water. Look, it floats. The log starts to drift gently down the river. Peppa and George wave goodbye to the adventurous log. They throw in a small leaf to be its captain. What fun! Peppa and George decide to play hide and seek. Peppa covers her eyes. She starts counting. 1, 2, 3. George hurries to find a hiding spot. He runs to the sofa. He ducks down trying to hide. But look! His little ears are peeking over the top of the sofa. Peppa finishes counting. 10! Ready or not, here I come! Peppa turns around. She looks straight at the sofa. George did not hide very well. Peppa walks right to the sofa. Peppa finds George. Aha! There's George! George jumps out. He smiles happily at being found. George will count next. Peppa and George are visiting Grandpa Pig's vegetable garden. It's time to harvest the carrots. Grandpa gives them an empty basket. Peppa starts pulling. She grabs a small carrot top. Pull! The small carrot comes out easily. Peppa is a good gardener.
Okay.
George finds a very big carrot top. This must be a giant carrot. George holds tight and pulls, pulls, pulls. It is very hard. Grandpa and Peppa come to help George. 1, 2, 3, pull! The giant carrot pops out of the ground. It is so big. George hugs his giant trophy carrot. They put it in the basket and walk home. What a wonderful day of harvesting! Peppa in the blue raincoat. It starts raining heavily outside. Peppa stands by the door and watches the rain. Mummy Pig comes out and gives Peppa a raincoat. Peppa walks over and puts on the raincoat.
2 hours later.
Peppa walks outside, wearing the blue raincoat. Peppa holds out her hand to catch the raindrops. Peppa sees a small puddle on the ground.
Wow!
Peppa jumps lightly into the puddle. George runs outside and sees Peppa jumping in the puddle. George looks at Peppa's blue raincoat. Peppa jumps again and water splashes around. The two siblings laugh happily in the light rain.